would you have done? I saw the belt buckle on the table and the underwear in the window. Called the police. I suppose I was panicked, but who wouldn't be? Have you any idea how embarrassing it can be to have underwear in your window, belt buckles on your table? At the very least, it's unsanitary. I doubt there are very many people in the world today who would refute this. She had an expression like a graham cracker dipped in orange juice. Soggy, but not good milk soap soggy. She wore a crooked halo like a glue-sniffing angel. Her socks rode her ankles like 4-year-old coats on the back stretch of the Derby, but not the Kentucky Derby, the actual hat, the Derby. In other words, her socks rode her ankles like hats to heads, nails to fingers, apples to pie, and my eyes to her belly button, which was an innie if there had ever been an innie. And trust me, there had been. I had the urge to put my tongue on her face and pretend she had a beard, but I knew better. She wore her heart on her sleeveless dress. She was a heartbreaker, a jawbreaker, a bone crusher, and a substitute teacher. Almost always late to class, but you had a feeling that with molars like hers, she'd be forgiven. She had a habit of taking up addictions and then quitting them suddenly. I was alive, but if anybody could make an honest woman out of me, it was her, a surgeon, and an estrogen supplement. I knew from the moment I laid eyes on her that she would slap me across the face. I like your ferret, I mumbled to her. Guessing that with tits like hers, she no doubt had pet ferrets. She blew smoke in my face, but not cigarette smoke. Nah, she sucked on the tailpipe of an idling bus and blew gas fumes into my nostrils. How did you know my ferret, she cried. I met him on a cruise for two that I won from a mail-order sweepstakes. I lied. Oh, really? She slapped me across the face. And then she turned her back on me. I didn't think anybody ever won those things. They don't, but I'm not just anybody, I counted, my palms rubbing my stinging cheeks. I don't know you, she said factually, then pulled a banana from her purse. No, you wouldn't, but you have a banana. I spoke and then realized it was anything but seductive. She looked at the banana, and looked up at me, and then back to the yellow fruit. She had a penchant for purple pendants. I could tell from the eggplant she wore around her neck. She must have loved orangutans the way she held that banana with conviction. I lay on the ground in front of her, took my shirt off, and practiced my diction. Quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. Quick brown fox. That's a typing exercise, you moron. She stepped over me. If you want to practice your diction, try enunciating syllabled words. I wondered how she knew I was trying to practice my diction. And as she stepped over me, I noticed that she was wearing golden underwear under her pants. I reached for my clothing and sat up, but she already had the shirt in her mouth, tugging like a golden retriever. Good girl, get the shirt, get the shirt. Oh, I screamed in joy as she growled and barked and spun her jaws back and forth. Before releasing for a moment, I took the opportunity to pulled the shirt from her mouth and put it over my shivering nipples. She looked so cute just then that I had to pet her, but she recoiled immediately from my touch. "What the hell do you think I am, a dog?" I yelled before doing a perfectly symmetrical cartwheel. "No," I lied. "But to a casual observer, your behavior is just a little bit canine." There's nothing casual about observation. She learned me good. I nodded ruefully, and she took that as a sign of surrender. "I suppose you never play growl when you're anxious, lick your gonads and sniff people's butts. You're just the opposite of a dog, I suppose. Like you don't love a good chew on a raw pig snout or a sofa cushion for fun." Now, I guess I might have continued agreeing with her to appease her in the hopes that I could sleep with her. But even as much of a liar as I was, I said no. Then I added an addendum. Maybe on occasion, I've howled at the moon and imagined I was chasing rabbits in the sunlight. But for the most part, I'm happy with my bipedal self. Opposable thumbs, regular teeth, and wrinkled corduroy pant legs. Pant legs? You telling me about pant legs? She was a portrait of disbelief, painted by a madman with his own blood and a walrus tusk for a canvas. I didn't know how to answer her question at all. I was stuck in the irises of her eyes. She had a stare that could cut a baseball game in the third inning and take a flag off a lunar surface and tie it to a kite. She had so many different qualities, it was kind of hard to love her. But then, she was my wife, and so I guess that for the most part, I accepted her. "Casserole tonight?" I proposed, to which she nodded. "Yes, but you'll be cooking," she warned me, and knowing my unchef-like abilities, I hung my head in shame and crawled with guilt into the bathroom, put the oven on preheat, and prepared to bake. But what would you have done? With the belt buckle on the table and the golden underwear she wore casually displayed right in the window, and the peeled banana on the floor? She must have known the cops were coming. She must have sensed that I had called them. She must have had nerves of aluminum siding and the temper of a peace pipe lit inside a teepee. She took a bow. "And to what might you be bowing?" I asked as sirens in the distance grew slowly louder. "It's not for you, dear. It's for my ferrets," she politely reminded with a smile. And then she dipped and did a curtsy, and the ferrets must have loved it. For when they took her away in handcuffs with her $1,000,000 bloomers, there was a sound I'd never heard that came in softly from the basement. It was the sound of furry paws against each other. Sound of fuzzy claws lightly tapping. And indeed, if you believe in math, then you could imagine that the ferrets were all clapping at the same time. And it hit me. These weren't her ferrets. They were ours.